सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै गुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करत्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Twofold life, commitment, pursuit is given in the Vedas, pravritti and nivritti. In other words, karma yoga and jnana yoga. Bhashyakara points out that there is this division, jnana nishtha and karma nishtha is there, and there is a difference, a distinction between these two in terms of the Anubandha Chatushtaya, what we call as the connected, the fourfold connections, relation. Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Prayojana, these are different, these are distinct. Here, for the Karmanishta, a Karta is an Adhikari, a Jiva, an Ajnani, an Avidwan is an Adhikari. Whereas for Karta is an Adhikari, and one who is a Kami, desires, one who has desires an Adhikari, etc. Bhashyakara points out the differences between these two. And the very mantra, the internal the words are, the evidence is there to point to the difference. Remember, in the mantra, first mantra, Magradaha, Dhanam, etc. was mentioned. Don't covet wealth, belongings, etc. was mentioned. Also, Tena Tyaktena was mentioned. These indicate that for the first mantra, the Karma Adhikari is not talked of in that first mantra. Jnana Yoga Adhikari is being talked about. There is Adhikari Bheda is there. You must always remember. Otherwise it will always confusion. To whom it is telling, there will be a confusion. So Adhikaris is different. And whereas the second mantra, Kurvan Neva, it was mentioned. And also Jijivished is mentioned. Bhashyakara refers these are the reasons. Why I say that the second mantra is for Karmanishtha. Why I say so? Bhashyakara points out. Also he quoted the reason, one more reason, Phala Bhedam cha Vakshyati. There is a difference in terms of result also. Karma Nishtha, that is, Karma Yoga produces the Drishta Adrishta Phalam, also Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi also is there, Phalam is there. that is sadhyam. The phalam is yet to be accomplished. When a person does an action, does some activity, then the result is not there at that time. Right? Say for traveling to some place. When a person travels to some place, the place which has to be reached is not yet gotten. That's why the person travels. At the time of traveling, the place is yet to be reached. The place remains sadhya, yet to be reached, yet to be gotten, accomplished. That is there. So, in karma, the phalam is always sadhyam, yet to be gotten at the time of doing the action. Whereas in jnanam, there is no sadhya there here. We are talking about atma jnana, not the laukika jnana we are not talking about. In laukika jnana, you know something and then you make use of that knowledge and then you get something, name or fame or money, etc. You get position, etc. You get. That's all for the laukika jnana. Here, in atma jnana, atma is the vishaya, is the content of the knowledge, and that is always prapta. It is already you. It is already me. It is not something which I have to accomplish, have to produce something anew. It is not so. It is siddha vastu. So, in jnana, the vishaya, the phalam is both are siddha. Therefore, there are differences between the phala of jnana and karma. Bhashyakara pointed out. Then he further cites further proof from the scriptures. If we look at the scriptures in a wholesome way, we look at the whole scripture, then we do not see any contradictions. If we look at the scripture in part alone, then there may be contradiction. There may be seeming contradiction. We do not look at the scripture in isolation, a part of the scripture, a paragraph, a sentence. We do not look in isolation. If you look at in isolation, then there may be seeming contradiction between one passage and another passage. One sentence and another, there may be seeming contradictions. Therefore, it is necessary for us to have an overview. So, all the time we learn to have what is the overview, the complete view of the Shastra, and in the light of the overall view, what is the contextual view, right? Suppose we go to a mountain, say we go to a mountain top, we have an overall view of the whole panorama, whole scenery, we have an overall view. And within that, we look at certain things, say a tree, a flower, etc. We look at. There is a contextual view also is there. The contextual view cannot be in contradiction to the overall view, the summum bonum, the essence of all the Vedas, all the scriptures. So it is very clearly, thoroughly analyzed, right? All the Veda portions have been thoroughly analyzed. It is not that we are doing it for the first time. For ourselves we are doing for the first time, yes, but we are not doing it. It's not that nobody has done it. We are the first ones to do the Vichara Veda. It is not so. It has been thoroughly analyzed and also has been found to be valid and also has been taken to, people have taken to this and then they have found the validity of it as well. It is for us to have the Shraddha and then take to the Shastra and see the validity for ourselves later. Okay, therefore, it is not something which is said anew. Okay, newly something is said, it is not there. No truth is new. Every truth is ageless. Every truth is ageless. We may discover a truth for ourselves newly, afresh, we may know something new. That does not mean that the truth becomes new. Okay? We have invented a truth. You don't invent truths. Okay? You invent something else, but not the truths. Therefore, here it has been very clearly analyzed, thoroughly analyzed. And in the Brahma Sutra, it is very clearly brought out in the 4th Sutra. Tattu Samanvaya. There is Samanvaya there is fitment among all the portions of the Shastra. They fit in very well. Like in a properly designed equipment, machinery, every part fits well. Okay? Every part has its own relevance, has its own niche, okay? Its own place, its own relevance, and it contributes to the wholesomeness of the machinery or equipment. Similarly, every part of the scriptures has its own relevance and it fits in its own place. It is very clearly. Therefore, here the Shastra, the Prama is a Pramana. It addresses all human beings. It does not take into the limitations, the divisions of nationality, place, time, religion, etc. It does not take into that. It has a broadest view possible scripture. It does not divide people into creed or religion or belief, etc. It transcends. It helps one transcend. After all, religion is not the end of the human pursuit. Religion may be a necessary step in that. Religion is only to help a person discover the everlasting, ever-existing relation between Ishvara and oneself. That's all the purpose of any religion. That's how it should be. Right? The individual should discover the relation between, the existing relation between oneself and Ishvara. That's all the final purpose of any religion. It should be. That's how it should be. Not dogmatic, etc. Not nurturing creed and then superiority of one over the other. That's all bunkam. Just bunkam. It's just bunkam. They have their own people. They have their own agenda. They are after money or power, etc. They may do a lot of things nonsense. A lot of things go in the name of religion, but that is not the true religion to speak. True religion is that which helps the person discover the innate relationship between oneself and Ishvara. That is all. And therefore there is freedom in religion. That's how the Vedas look at the entire thing. The Veda looks at an individual as a free person, and because the person is endowed with the free will, it is virtually limitless. The free will is limitless, virtually. Only confined by one's own limitations of mind and etc., mood, etc., but not really, it is not confined. The free will is limitless. And that is how the Vedas also look at. Therefore, the Veda looks at the whole thing in wholesomeness. It looks at a person as Brahman, nothing less. Okay. The Shastra looks at a person, not only a person, it looks at everything as Brahman. Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma. That is the Shastra. Nowhere we have this, nowhere else we have this grand vision. Sarvam Brahma, nobody else, nowhere else you see this. Īśāvāsya Upanishad, nowhere else you find. Only in the Vedas you find. Okay. So, the Veda addresses every person in keeping with the person's level, preparedness, situation, all that limitations belonging to the Upadhi, keeping in that the Veda addresses to everyone. Right? It addresses everybody. But not in the same tone, because not everyone is in the same level or preparedness, etc. Right? Therefore, Veda addresses to different people in different ways. What is necessary for the person, for individual at that time, for the person at that level, what is necessary, the Vedas talk about. And karma is enjoined here for a set of people who are in the process of growing, maturing, discovering, etc. It is there. That is called karma. It is not looked upon as something inferior, really speaking. Karma is not inferior. Jnana is not superior. It is not like that. It relates to a person. A person is a sadhaka, is a practitioner now, right? A sadhaka now. And that very same person becomes the siddha later. Very same person becomes the siddha later. Where is the question of superiority? Is it like that? I am today, that the I today is superior to the I yesterday. This is all. What is this? What is this comparison? There is no superiority or inferiority per se. It relates to the person, that's all. At this level, as I am now, this is what I need to do. And then, so that I can nurture, I can initiate my own growth, maturity, to live life in fullness. And later on, what am I now? How am I? I have grown from what I was earlier, and what I need to do now for my further growth, if it is there, what I need to know, the Veda talks to me at that level. So Veda talks to different people at different levels. People are at different levels, and therefore Veda talks to that. It is not that we are comparing people, that's how we are. Full stop. That's how we are. If a baby is only 2 feet tall and an adult is 6 foot tall, what is the comparison there? Comparison is meaningless there. A baby is 2 feet tall. Oh, so baby is inferior to the adult who is 6 feet tall. It's just meaningless. Therefore, what am I? Where am I? And what I need to do should be the outlook. A self-evaluation. Where am I now? What am I now? What is my capacity? What are my potentials? What do I have now? And then what do I need to do in the light of what I am now? What do I need to do to help myself grow into a full-fledged, fully blown, a spiritual being? That is what one needs to do. We do not compare. Full stop. Unqualified statement. This is right. Without any, we do not compare. Full stop. We compare ourselves maybe, right, with what we are now and what we would like to grow. That's all. We do not compare anybody else here with it. So what I need to do, I look at. The Veda addresses to the individual, not to the groups. Group happens, but then Veda addresses the individuals. Particularly, the Vedanta does not talk to groups of people, it talks to the individual. It's not tatu tvam asi, that's what it said. Yuyam tatu asi staha santi. Asi staha stha. Yuyam tatu stha, that is not the teaching there. Not a plural there, right? Singular, you, tvam, asi, it is there. So it talks to the individual. So the individual has to see what I need to do. Do not compare. Do not compare one with the other. It is pointless. You look at what you need to do and then where you are and then what you do. You go about like that. Any help necessary, you can see. That's all. That's what the spirit should be. So, here, Bhashyakara points out what the Shastra says with reference to the people who are in the process of growing. Some are in the process of, for some, karma is what is need to be done. For some who are already have this maturity, God bless. So, in this janma, the necessary maturity is there. That's all. Okay. The willingness to grow also is there. The willingness to give up is there. For them, jnana nishtha, etc. Bhashyakara points out this is there. Therefore, Bhashyakara quotes from various sources. Imau dvau eva panthanau anunishkrantatarau bhavataha. These two paths only, these two lifestyles, pursuits only are there. They are anunishkrantatarau. Nishkranta, we can say, have emanated. The translation is emanated, but we can take it as have been trodden. Nishkranta, have been walked. This path has been trodden, walked. Beaten path it is. Beaten path means safe path, a proven path. That is the meaning of beaten path. Okay. So, a proven way of living is there. Nishkranta. And Bhashyakara, the mantra, the quotation is Nishkranta Tarau. Tara is there. So very well ascertained. Just not say Nishkrantau, it does not say Nishkranta Tarau. Tara means it has been proven, very ascertained that it's the correct path, the proper way. And Anu also there. Like people in keeping with the teaching, in keeping with the teacher, teaching and the teacher, in keeping with that is the anud, in keeping with the vision, in keeping with the scripture, in keeping with the Vedas, in keeping with the acharyas, right? They have followed this path, taken to this path, followed the path, and then they have really gotten Nishkrantatahu bhavataha. And what are these two? Kriyapataschaiva purastat. What comes first is the path of action. Kriyapataha. Karma yoga, karma nishta is called as kriyapada. And also sanyasaha cha uttarena. Later on means not necessarily in terms of one's age, but in terms of one's maturity. That is there. As we grow out of certain desires, certain passions, certain dependencies, insecurity, etc. We grow out of because we discover the fearless, we discover the secure, we discover the truth. As we keep discovering, we become less and less dependent on what is not so true, what does not matter anymore. So, uttarena sanyasaha cha, it is pointed out. Then, what is it sannyasa? Nivritti marga yeshanatrayasya tyagaha. Nivritti margena, by the path of giving up, right? Here, what we give up is really our clinging on to notions, ideas. This is very important. We don't give up easily our ideas, our notions. We don't give up. It's it's not all that easy to change one's ideas. Not so easy for all. Easy to change ideas, change one's outlook, one's character, one's personality, right? It's not all that easy to change. One is under the spell of one's own prakriti, one's own nature. The composition of one's own personality, which is a mixture of sattva and rajas and tamas, which is called prakriti. So, it is not all that easy for a person to grow, to change. It is not easy. All that easy. Change one's shirt is very easy, but change oneself is not all that easy. It takes a lot of time. It takes willpower, first of all. It takes the sankalpa in oneself. Drida sankalpa is necessary. I keep on repeating this. Drida sankalpa is very, very necessary. Without a sankalpa, we don't initiate the change in ourselves. And then we have to know what is the end, what is the goal, the intermediate goal, the final goal. All that we need to be clear about. And then also we need to see the connection between the intermediate goal and the final goal. The intermediate goal should subserve my final goal. Then only it is an intermediate goal. Otherwise it is some other goal, something else it is. So, see the relevance between the immediate goals and the final goal, the connection between them, and then work towards reaching the intermediate goals so that one can, step by step, one can reach the final goal of spirituality. We don't go in for the final goal at one go. Not everyone can reach the final goal at once. It is not possible. Because what one is now, it may not be possible for everybody to reach the final goal in one go, in one shot, in one jump. It is not possible. You may have to take leaps, one after another leaps, jumps one after another, step one after another. That's how things are. Therefore, one has to keep going, keep doing what one has to do. Discover what I have to do and then keep doing. Very important. And in the process, one has to be very patient, very perseverant. Perseverance is very, very important. Keep doing. Find out what you have to do. Verify. Just don't think for yourself. Just verify whether what you think, this is what I need to do. Verify whether it is alright. Just verify. That's very important part. Verify whether what you are doing is right. And then keep doing that. Be perseverant, be patient, and take the help, seek help, take help when necessary. Take Ishvara's grace, ask for grace, pray for grace, yearn the grace, and then we reach the goal. Therefore here, the sannyasa cha uttarena nivritti margena, the process of giving up. What is giving up? Yeshanatrayasya, the mantra says, tyagaha. Tayoho sannyasa pataha eva atirechayati. In terms of the result, sannyasa, the marga penance, sannyasa here refers to jnana yoga. Jnana yoga, jnana nishtha is said to be superior here because of the result. Not for itself, but for the result that what it gives. And then Mahanarayana Upanishad says, Nyasaha eva atyarechayat. Same thing. Nyasaha, sannyasa eva atyarechayat. We are not glorifying sannyasa. Sannyasa, there's no point in glorifying anything. Sannyasa is not glorified here. Sannyasa here, remember that it is within. Antara, it is within. It has to happen inside. It has to happen. Just by wearing a dress, you don't become a sannyasi, right? So, but it has to happen inside. The change has to happen within, okay? Inside, for the person, for himself. That is what is said here. All right. Iti cha Taitiriyake. And then Bhashyakara quote the Mahabharata shloka. We'll just read this again. And then Dvavimavata Panthanau Yatra Vedah Pratishtitaha Pravritti Lakshano Dharmo Nivrittischa Vibhavitaha. What is it? Subhashita is there. Atha, now, dvau imau pantha, now, these two paths, these two lives, the life of action, the life of taking something, and the life of giving up something. What is it? Dvau itha, dvau imau, atha pantha, now the well-known, imau, these two well-known. Yatra Vedaha Pratishtitaha. Vedas have Tatparya. Having Tatparya is called Pratishtita. Settled, rooted, means having the Tatparya in that. Staying. Where do the Vedas stand? Right? That is in these two. Pratishtha refers to the final Tatparya. Tatparya, the very commitment. So, these two Vedas have their stand in these two pursuits. What are they? Pravritti Lakshanaha Dharmaha. Dharma, which is the form of Lakshana, in the form of Pravritti, engagement, activity, action, etc. And Nivrittihi cha, also in the form of Nivrittihi, renunciation, withdrawing, etc. The dharma, the word dharma has to go with both. Pravritti lakshanaha dharmaha, nivritti lakshanaha dharmaha. Nivritti also is dharma. It is not against dharma, it is also dharma. Alright, vibhavitaha, taken to very clearly. Also subhashitaha, very clearly said, very beautifully said. Mahabharata Shanti Parva. Even though most of the Mahabharata is a narrative, is an itihasa, is a narrative. And almost half of the Mahabharata is Kurukshetra war. Half of the bulk of the book, almost about 40% is war, the 18-day war. Tirelessly, Mahabharata describes the scenery after scenery after scenery after scenery in the war. About 40% is war description, Kurukshetra war battle. But that is not we are not very much interested in the details of the warfare. We are not very much interested. But it talks about later on, there is a beautiful section called Shanti Parva, Moksha Dharma, etc. Shanti Parva is a very treasure house of the gems of teaching, the values of life, the way of life. Shanti Parva is very great. So in that Shanti Parva, this sloka occurs. This happens to be a portion wherein Vyasa talks to his own son, Shuka Maharshi. Sukhavasa, even as the very young Sukhavasa was a wise person, even very, very young, he was young, very wise. And he had the great blessing to have Vyasa, Veda Vyasa as his father. Not everyone has such a blessing here. A saint, the father is a saint, and the child, the son is a saint. It does not happen very often. So such a great blessing. It's a blessing to have a saint as a father, right? As a Maharshi as a father, for a father, and Maharshi for a son. What a great, we don't see such a greatness within the family, right? Between father and son, both are Maharshis, great sages they are. Not the conferred sainthood, okay? This is not conferred sainthood. That is some other thing. But this is, they were saintly people, not conferred saints, etc. They are saintly. Vyasa Maharshi and Sukha Maharshi. Now, this is told by Vyasa to Sukha Maharshi. Bhashyakara explains that. Ityadi putraya vicharya nishchitam uktam Vyasena Veda Acharyena Bhagavata. Bhashyakara keeps the glory of Vyasa, etc. Vyasena Uktam, said by Vyasa, told by Vyasa. And who is Vyasa? Is any ordinary person? No. Veda Acharyena, the one who is the Acharya of all the Vedas. Who is that? The very word Vyasa means, one of the very meaning, the word means a compiler, one who has compiled, put together, put in place all the Veda mantras. We know that, we believe that Vyasa is not the author of the Vedas, but is the one who has put them, arranged them in their own due places. As it obtains now, as the Vedas obtain now, who has codified them, arranged them? It is Veda Vyasa. So Veda Acharyena. To put the mantras in their place, to arrange them, is not an easy task. It takes a Maharshi. It takes Vyasa to arrange them, organize them into various Vedas and Shakhas, etc. Veda Acharyena. So, without knowing the intent, the Tatparya of the Veda, it is not possible to do this job. Therefore, Bhashyakara says, Vyasa is not an ordinary person. It's Veda Acharya. Veda Acharyena Vyasena. Usually we append this Veda, we don't call as Vyasa. We say Veda Vyasa. Okay? We call Veda Vyasa. To remind ourselves that it is Vyasa who has codified, who has arranged the Vedas. Veda Vyasa. Alright. And not only that, Bhagavata, he is like Bhagavan. Sarvajna is all-knowing. Whatever there is Purushartha, about Purushartha that is to be known, the Bhagavan, Veda Vyasa, known. Therefore he is Bhagavan, all-knowing, omniscient, Sarvajna. Yes. In the Brahma Sutra also, Bhashyakara says Sarvajna. Bhashyakara says about Veda Vyasa, is Sarvajna, Bhagavan, Veda Vyasa. Even in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, he says similar thing. Who talks about, in glorifying terms, he pays rich tributes, due tributes to Veda Vyasa. Bhagavata Veda Vyasena Veda Acharyena Uttam. Bhagavan he is, because he is all-knowing. All-knowing means Bhagavan Veda Vyasa knows our minds knows all languages? No. All Purushartha. Purusharthavit knows about the Purusharthas. What is to be done for accomplishing the fourfold Purusharthas. That is Veda Vyasa. Bhagavata Veda Acharyena Vyasena Uktam. So, such a great personage, Veda Vyasa has said this. And to whom it is said, how it is said, Vicharya Nishchitam Uktam. Vicharya, after having thoroughly analyzed, thoroughly looked into, having thoroughly looked into the whole thing, and then Nishchitam Uktam, as ascertained, with ascertainment, Nishchitam Uktam, for sure, this is how it is. And to whom did the Veda Vyasa say this? Putraya, to his own Putra. A father, Pita, will want the Hita, the well-being of the son, of the daughter, of the child. So, would not say something which would mislead the kid, the son or daughter. Would say something which is useful, which is true, which is valid. So, Putraya Uttam. So, these are all Bhashyakara points out, all key factors in understanding the validity of what is being said. So, Putraya Uktam, Veda Acharyena Bhagavata Vyasena Uktam, Vicharya Uktam, Nishchitam Uktam. Right? Look at this, all this. Putraya, Vicharya, Nishchitam, Veda Acharyena Bhagavata Vyasena Uktam Idam. So, it is not me, Shankara, who is telling this. I am not just another person. Shankara is telling this. Shankara is not telling this. Vyasa has pointed out this. Shankara, I am only repeating Veda Vyasa's, the great teaching, the great conclusion. And which is the Veda's conclusion? Is a Veda Acharya. Veda Acharya will not contradict the Vedas. Okay? That's a Veda Acharya. Suppose I teach arithmetic. Okay? I am arithmetic teacher. 2 plus 2 is 7, 3 plus 5 is 11. Suppose I teach, then I am not. What arithmetic is, no, and then what I say is different. So, Veda Acharya, Bhashyakara, Veda Acharya means what Veda says alone, Vyasa is saying. So Veda Acharya Uttam. Look at all this, how he says nice, simple words, but this is how it is. It's not me, Shankara, talking. I am just repeating the words of Veda Acharya Vyasa. Bhashyakara points out. Alright. And it is said in the Bhagavad Gita also, we know, Lokesmin, Vividhanishta, Pura Prokta Mayanaga, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam, etc. Okay. Alright. Further. Vibhagam cha anayoho darshayishyamaha. Anayoho vibhagam. Anayoho, between these two, of these two, vibhaga, the distinction. The distinction between these two, karmanishta and jnananishta, between these two, darshayishyamaha, we will show. Drish and then future tense, we will show, drish plus nich, we will show, drish to see, darsh to show, okay? We will show clearly later on. Bhashyakara is going to talk about this in the 9th mantra and also in the end, concluding portion of this Īśāvāsya. Again Bhashyakara will point out. That's what he refers to. We will show later. We will show in the 9th mantra Bhashya and in the end of this Īśāvāsya Bhashya, Bhashyakara shows. Here, what is the Vibhaga here? The fourfold Anubandha. What is called that? Anubandha Chatushtaya. Yeah. Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Prayojana. This is the Vibhaga here. So, we know this Adhikari for karma is karta, bhokta, kami, purusha. And then for the jnana yoga is a viveka vairagyavan purusha. Vairagya, one has vairagya, is a very key quality. Without vairagya, jnana yoga one will not be able to own without vairagya. Vairagya is a very cornerstone for the jnana yoga, for the jnana nishtha. Vairagya is very important. Dispassionate, being dispassionate, not giving undue value for one's own feelings and ideas, etc. That is dispassion. Don't give undue value for one's own thinking. Undue value we don't give. We don't overvalue our own thinking, our own ideas, our own feeling. We don't overvalue. This mistake we commit often. We overvalue our own feelings, our own ideas. We do that. Overvaluation of our own feelings, our own ideas, our own beliefs. Dispassion means look at one's own feeling also, one's own idea also very objectively. Never overvalue that. Nor undervaluing others' feelings, etc. No, don't undervalue that. Look at them very objectively. Look at things, look at oneself objectively. Very objectively. That is vairagya. Without vairagya, jnana yoga leads nowhere. The person will not make any progress. Will be misled. Not by the Shastra, but because of one's own confusion. One's own misplaced value structure. Right? One will be confused. Therefore, vairagya is very basic. The cornerstone is the foundation of jnana yoga. Without vairagya, jnana yoga is futile. Pursuit is futile. Just futile now. So, this adhikari, vairagyavan, is adhikari for jnana yoga. And then the vishaya in the karma is drishta, adrishta result, known and unknown result. The immediate result and the later on result, material results. These are all the herein and hereafter, aihika, amushmika, etc. These are all the what talks about, that is I mentioned the phalam, okay. The result I talked about, okay. Whereas for the jnana yoga, the result is moksha, that discovery of the essential freedom. Okay. Where the vishaya is about karma, and then the sadhanas, swarga, jyotishtomadi is the karma, karanam. And then whatever that is relevant to that is the Vishaya. Here in Jnana Yoga, Jnana Nishtha, the Vishaya is Atma, is Brahma. Atma, Brahma is the Vishaya here. Atma being Brahma is the Vishaya. Then the Sambandha is the Sambandha only, no? Sambandha. Sadhana, Sadhya, Sambandha, etc. They are different. Bhashyakara says this Vivagam Darshaishyamaha. Now here, there's a question here. Even though it is said, Bhashyakara says Vibhagam cha, the distinction between these two, and earlier Bhashyakara said Virodha, etc. He said Virodham, Parvatavat Akampyam, Jnana Karmanoho Virodham, it is said. And we usually also say that the Adhikari is different. The Adhikari for Jnana Nishtha and Karma Nishtha, they are different, we say. Now, according to some thinkers, some people who look into the Vedas, they think that these two have to be combined. In combination we do. This is called Samuchaya. Sam ut chi dhatu, and then with that the word Samuchaya comes. Samuchaya here means combining these two, combination. You have to take to both. Jnana also one has to take to, karma also one has to take to. This is the Samuchaya Vada. One gains as a result. All the four Purusharthas one gains by this combination only. And within this Samuchaya there are shades of differences. One says that one has to take to karma first, right, and then
later on jnana. This way, one after another samuchaya is there. Some other thing that first one has to know and then do. Jnana comes first and then karma comes next. This is the thinking of another set of people. A third set of people think that samasamuchaya, simultaneously one has to take to both. So these three ways of combination. Karma first, jnana next. Jnanam first, karma next. And then third one is both simultaneously. Samasamuchaya. This is there. So there are these twofold krama samuchaya. Combination in sequence. One after another. That is one, krama samuchaya. And then there is the another, sama samuchaya. Simultaneously you combine. This is the samuchaya vada. Why do we say so? Because the Veda point talks of both. Veda talks of karma also, jnanam also. Therefore, both has to be taken too. Right? We cannot omit a portion of Veda as not relevant, as not a pramana, and the other half of the pramana, other part of Veda as pramanam. This is not acceptable, they say. It is like saying one half of a person is young, very young, 18 years old and very beautiful. The right side is young and beautiful. The left side is 81. 18 and the other side is 81. Not very beautiful looking. One part is a cute looking lady, woman, and the other half is a old hag. They say all wrinkle and then all that old. It's called Ardha Jaratiya Nyaya. Ardha, half. Jarati is an old lady. Half of it is old. That's not possible. Either the person as a whole is young or the whole person is old. Okay? It is not one half of the body is 18, the other half is 81. Okay? It is not so. So, it will be like that. Saying one part of the Veda is a pramana, other part is not a pramana. It will be like saying, taking that one part of young, one person is young, other part is old, etc. The whole Veda has one pramana. We cannot take one is pramana, one part of it is pramana, other is not a pramana. Therefore, karma is said, we have to do karma. Jnana is said, we have to take to jnana also. This is the contention, the main contention of the samuchaya vadi. Also, because of the individual's makeup, what a person is made up of, we are made up, the body and the mind are meant to be active. Body and mind are meant to be active. And also, we are blessed with an intellect also, which wants to know also. Right? So, there is a keenness to know also, there is a keenness to be active also. What is the opposition here? Intellect, you know something. Active, you are active, you do something. Where is the contradiction? So, I would like to know, yes. I would like to do, yes. Where is the opposition? And therefore, samuchaya. One is active, one is intelligent, therefore one takes to both. This is the reason. One is Veda as a whole is a pramana. Veda says karma also, jnanam also, therefore both have to be taken. This is one reason. Second reason is that I am active, I am intelligent, therefore both are there for me. These two reasons only, the basic reasons why the samuchaya vada holds here. So this is the samuchaya vada. In the Taittiriya Bhashyakara talks about elaborately. When you happen to see Taittiriya Bhashya, you will do that. You can see that in more detail. The samuchaya vada we can see. What is the position of the Vedanti here? It is true that a person is an adhikari for karma at one point of time, at one stage in one's life, or in one's spiritual pursuit. It is true that one is an adhikari for karma, yes. But then there is a process of growth, maturity, wherein giving up also is there. What do we mean by growth? Right? We can look at this way also. Growth is not just aging. It is not just aging. It is something which happens to the person, not to the body. With reference to body, it is just aging. But growth is always with reference to, as we mean, it refers to the person. There is an emotional growth. As a person, there is a growth in terms of understanding, in terms of the understanding of the realities, understand what one is, there is a growth here. And in terms of the value structure which one lives by, okay, there is a growth, there is a maturity here. As a person grows, one becomes free from what one was holding as important earlier. What was important earlier, now it is no more important. Maybe for two reasons: it is not useful at all, or it has served its purpose. Right? It has done its job, therefore it is not useful anymore. Like even suppose there is a rock, okay, just a rock. Where will you have your lunch? How will you eat now? Put it on the rock. Put the rice and sambar, everything, the dal, everything on that. A rock, crude, a rough rock is not a plate. It's not usually for us. There may be people who eat on the rock also, okay? But I'm talking about myself, okay? I don't serve my food on the rock and then eat. Rock is not the plate. Rock is useless for eating. Useless. So I don't have a value for rock as a plate. I don't have a value for it. Suppose I have a leaf, okay? A paper plate or a leaf, banana leaf, etc. After I eat food, it has done its purpose. It has served its purpose. Then I throw it away. Right? So the discarding is because of these two reasons. One is it is useless. Second reason is not useful anymore. That's all. Anymore is important. It has served its purpose, not useful anymore. Like a shirt. The shirt that I wear is useful now. After it wears out, or I outgrow the shirt, okay, I grow horizontally also. Not just vertical growth is stopped, and then horizontally I grow, length and breadth I grow. Then I outgrow the shirt, then the shirt is not useful for me anymore. I discard the shirt. Not useful anymore. Okay? So, for these two reasons, things are given up. Not useful anymore. These two reasons. So, in the process of growth, there is a constant discarding is there. You discard certain things. You discard within as a person. You discard your own invalid notions which you had. Right? As a child, as a kid, we have certain values for our own belongings, our own toys. We had great value. Now we have given up this. So our own values, our own notion of dependency on certain things, etc., we give up. So this is Tyaga is there. It is part of human life. Tyaga is part of human life. We keep giving up. We keep taking to newer things, and we keep giving up also. So it will be very pertinent to look into what I should take to newly. Before I acquire, I should look into this. Is it relevant? Is it useful? Is it in the path of my growth? Does it contribute to my growth? One has to take to that. Right? Like even normally, a person in one's career, in profession, etc., one goes from one level to another level. Suppose I earn 20,000 rupees per month now. So next year I would like to earn 25,000, 30,000 per month, something like that I would like to. That is the growth level. Not that today I earn 25,000 and then tomorrow I would like to earn 5,000. Normally one would not do that. So here in spiritual growth, we take to things which lead to our further growth. So, take to something which is always higher, which leads one to a higher level than what one is now. Don't just go on taking to the same thing, which will keep me in the same place spiritually. Same place, same level, I mean. And also, or it will lead me downward, which will lead me downward. That is not wise living, that is not wisdom. Therefore, we take to, we constantly give up. Now, what a person is now is not the same as the person what was one earlier. And what a person is now need not be the very same person in future also, right? So there is a change in the person, there is a change in the quality of the person, the maturity of the person. Depending on the maturity a person takes to the certain means. Now karma and jnana, these are there, these two. All divisions fall under these two only. Jnana-nishta and karma-nishta only. A person who is grown means is more dispassionate. Vairagya is the hallmark of maturity, growth. How do we measure our own maturity? In terms of our vairagya only. Only vairagya is a measure of our maturity. Everything else comes next. Vairagya is the first and is the foremost hallmark of maturity. How much vairagya I have. How much objective I am. How much dispassionate I am. Am I governed by my own emotions and feelings and thoughts and ideas and beliefs? Am I driven by them alone, by my likes and dislikes alone? That's how one evaluates oneself in terms of vairagya. So a person of vairagya, we cannot expect the person, we cannot command the person to the same thing. What a passionate person, right? What a person full of passions, whims, desires, unfulfillment, insecurity, etc. is there. We cannot expect the person of dispassion to be the same as the person of full of passion. When I say passion, etc., I don't mean passion for living, passion for life. That's a different sense. Okay? A dispassionate person also has a very passionate person for living in fullness. Okay? So, when we use words, we have to understand the correct meaning of the words always. Should not take our own usual meanings, not necessarily always. So when you say dispassion and passion, there's a different connotation is there, different meaning is there. So a person of dispassion, we cannot expect a person to have the same pursuit, go after the same thing as the person full of whims and fancies and desires. We cannot expect. Therefore, there is a distinction in terms of what one does. There is a difference. Jnana and karma, not everyone takes to jnana, not everyone has to take to karma. There is a vibhaga is there. What is there? Are there two diametrically opposite things, jnana and karma? Are they diametrically opposite? Does it mean that there is no connection whatsoever between karma and jnana whatsoever? Karma has no role for a jnana, nishta, etc. Does it mean that? We don't say so. We only say that what a person is doing now and what that same person may do later on when the person is grown, that is different. That could be different. That will be different. That's all we are saying. We are not saying that they are unconnected. Jnana and karma are unconnected. We don't say so. What is the role of karma? Karma prepares a person for jnana yoga. Karma yoga, karma nishtha prepares a person for jnana nishtha, jnana yoga. This is very clearly has been repeatedly said in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhashya, in the commentaries. And also Bhashyakara quoted this mantra, Kriya Patascha Purastat Sanyasaha Uttarena. What comes first? Kriya Patha. Karma Yoga comes first, Jnana Yoga comes later. Bhashyakara very clearly quoted this mantra, this shloka. Therefore, Karma Nishtha prepares a person for Jnana Yoga, for Jnana Nishtha. So it is preparatory. In that sense, it is preparatory. It is not supplementary, nor it is a complementary. Karma is not supplementary to Jnana. I will explain these words. Karma Yoga or Karma is not supplementary to Jnana, nor it is complementary to Jnana. This is preparatory. Karma Yoga, Karma Nishtha, Karma is preparatory. Prepares a person for Jnana Yoga, Jnana Nishtha. I will explain this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.